The Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
So Nike just got the greatest deal of all time on their contract they're about to sign with Caitlin Clark. This is kind of like going to the Antique Roadshow or going on, I don't know, Shark Tank and you win out on the deal. So Caitlin Clark signed a $28 million contract.
Dang!
Yeah, it's nice, but way less than it should be. It's like $3 million a year over the course of 8 years. So for Nike, this is like the bargain of a lifetime because she's going to move so much product for Nike. Everything is already a sellout. We have WNBA teams moving their games to 20,000-seat arenas because of Caitlin Clark.
And 90% of her games next year are going to be nationally televised.
I'm not ever calling
like
for
that.
anybody to get fired, but her agent, come on, how are we doing it like that? But on the other side of it, women's contracts are, sadly, as we discussed, not like men's in most situations when it comes to sports in particular. So there's I think a silver lining that, maybe there's a moment in this contract where in the next couple of years, if she hits certain, selling points or whatever
You're talking about maybe the bonuses will make it all worth it.
But I'm not saying it's going to make it
feels
all
low.
I'm not saying it's going to make it all worth it. I'm saying maybe they'll restructure her deal in the next couple of years. But, with Caitlin Clark, this is maybe a great start for women's basketball and, women's sports across the board in general where, she signed a big contract given the circumstances. And hopefully, as we said last week, Sarah, when she was, getting drafted, this kind of continues to evolve of like, wait a second, look what she did for Nike because 8 years and $24 million is nothing for what Caitlin Clark is worth to the Nike brand.
I thought maybe she was going to get it for like a year, and I'm like, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's ironic, though. Like, everyone is all about women's sports all of a sudden because of her, which is great. But for years, people made fun of women's basketball. They said it wasn't fun to watch. It was not that interesting. So the fact that we're like, oh, they don't get paid much, how are we surprised by this?
Well, it is. I don't want to go. We're going all mixed sports.
Well, you don't have to go all mixed sports. It doesn't need to turn into an 8-minute podcast.
No, but just say it.
I love where women's basketball is now compared to where it was 10 years ago when there wasn't like an even playing field of competition. To me, the level of competition had to rise in order for the sport to be more watchable. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Because it used to be that UConn women's basketball team would
dominate
beat everybody. So what's fun when the same team wins year after year by like 30 points every single game?
Yeah, but I think the physicality of it has always been made fun of, and people. It's just the truth. It's like I've heard lots of people talking about it, making fun of it, and like the fact that it's not televised, and the fact that people are finally. I'm so happy it's finally getting some respect.
It's great,
but we can't be surprised by it. We can't be surprised by the fact these women are getting paid nothing.
Well,
and let's hope now that Caitlin. And there's been many amazing players before, but she is a phenom. Now that she's at the forefront here and showing people that it can be fun to watch women's sports, let's just watch this ball roll and get bigger and bigger, and hopefully people will stop making fun of women's sports.
Well, in particular with women's basketball with her over the last month or so. I mean, it's been ratings bonanza for Caitlin Clark.
Because there are more superstars now.
No, it's great.
There are more
Listen,
good
kind of
players
like
to watch.
the women's national soccer team where their contracts are now fair to the men's national soccer team. That was a big thing a couple years ago. Caitlin Clark has to do that. Women's sports in general, there has to be these moments where all of a sudden, oh, wow, okay, we're talking about millions of dollars, and hopefully this is just the start for her contract, and they can rework it because $3 million a year for Nike for Caitlin Clark is the deal of a lifetime.
Agreed.
Yeah, and also $72,000 as her starting salary. That's disgusting.
She's gonna sell easily $28 million for Nike in the first couple months, and she's making that in her.
She's the torchbearer for a generation of female athletes.